Yeah, my name is Rwanda Stephen. I work with the African Evangelistic Enterprise Rwanda, one of the civil society organization that is child-centered, and I also happen to be a chairman of one of the district councils in Rwanda. So I'm also a member of APCAN Rwanda chapter.
What do you do in terms of how do you affect the children directly?
Well, the role of APCAN Rwanda is to mobilize other civil society organizations to do the advocacy, especially in the government organizations as the lead organizations for child protection, to enforce and make possible for the adjustments of some laws and guidelines related to child protection systems in Rwanda.
Is the problem very big in Rwanda that you have to?
Well, Rwanda is one of the leading countries on the African continent that have ratified the child protection conventions, and the system seems to be very streamlined on child protection issues, but the problem is the coordination of all stakeholders in child protection, and this is actually our role, is to make sure that all levels related to, be it private or public, that are concerned with child protection are properly coordinated and in line with the laws that the government has put in place.
What is the response so far? How would you gauge? Are you halfway there, or are you in terms of success rate?
Well, because of the goodwill of the government, given our background of the genocide and other civil wars that have characterized our country, the government seems to be leading in all aspects of life, child protection inclusive. So our role actually is to activate and to implement what the government has put in place as guidelines, as laws, as policies. So I would say in Rwanda we are 3/4 on track. So the other quarter is just to put things right, things to do with the coordination, trying to use the platform that we have at the civil society organizations, and using also the homegrown solutions that are already in place. Yesterday you had some people talking of an eye of the neighbor, an evening of the mothers. I mean, all those are initiatives or homegrown solutions to especially address the issues related to children, especially those that are most vulnerable.
Just explain more, what is the eye of a neighbor, just for the benefit of other people?
Yeah, an eye of a neighbor is, most of the violence that is perpetrated against the children is family-based or community-based. So a neighbor is actually concerned with what is happening to a neighbor. So that means if there is a child abuse in one family, the next family in the neighborhood is supposed to be 100% responsible and take measures and report the cases or refer the cases to all the service providers in relation to child abuse and neglect handling services. So that's what is called an eye of a neighbor.
What if this eye of the neighbor does not define properly what is happening in the neighbor? Maybe the child was being disciplined for something wrong that they did. How do you differentiate this is abuse and this is discipline? Definitely,
a neighbor has to intervene and find out actually if this is a disciplinary measure or it's an abuse, because the communities have been sensitized through community policing, through other initiatives that the government has put, clear to all the people through campaigns and awareness. So they know which is which. So in case it is an abuse and they warn those families and they don't take heed, then they forward the cases to the authorities concerned to handle those issues. So we find that that kind of system tries to minimize the cases of child abuse and neglect.
So has it really been caught up with the community? Do they really appreciate it?
Yeah, for sure, because it is a kind of, Rwanda has, after the genocide, has fetched most of this community-based solutions from the history. These are structures that have actually worked in the past, even before the coming of the colonialists. Because, for example, you learned that we had so many cases of those people who the genocide perpetrators, that the normal courts would not actually handle in a short period of time. So the country had to think back and borrow from the history the gacaca. The gacaca are kind of traditional courts of justice that actually are based on cultural truth. And they have handled all the cases, and now the cases are over. So the same practice actually, when you make the citizens very responsible of their own problems, they own it, they are self-motivated, then you make sure that this is going to run and get sustained within the system, because it is borrowing, fetching back from the history.